everybody. It's John, your Indian Cine-MANIAC, with a Sacred Games Season 2 review. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit, frankly, I'm just going to say I'm pissed off. Okay? I am pissed off. I watched 16 episodes. I'm invested in this show. Even though the second season was much slower paced than the first season, I stuck with it because I love these characters. I love the story. I love where the story was going. And then they pulled the rug out right from under me. And I'm not happy about it. Okay? Before I begin my angry review, and I'm going to review the whole season, I'm not going to do a couple of episodes, all right? I'm not going to do that. Oh. Anyway, listen, on the community polls of the big show, we're reaching out to you guys because we want to get you more involved in our regular show, non-Indian movies. Because I know a lot of you are fans of Hollywood films too, but we really haven't caught you guys on the big show. So on the community poll, we have a question. If you were to say to us, hey, here's a Hollywood film I'd love you guys to discuss that would interest you, put it down in the community poll. Right now, we've only got about 19 people that have suggested movies. Then what we're going to do is the five of us are going to go through the list, and we're each going to pick out a couple of films based on that list. We're going to put those films on a wheel. Those are the films we're going to do for you, the ones you suggest, okay? As far as 10-ish-minute reviews, I'm going to put another community poll because, frankly, the films you guys have chosen for me to watch based on the community polls, the SRK film, the Amir Khan film, the classics have been great. So I'm going to get you back involved with that. Okay. So let me get back to Sacred Games Season 2. Okay. Like I said, I found Season 2 was much slower paced than the first season. It just was. And that's okay because they were building to something. And I will also say that where I think Saif Ali Khan was really good in this because the second half of the season he's playing strung out because he went to the cult and they're pumping him full of all these drugs and tea and all this other stuff. So he looked pretty strung out for most of the second half of season 2. But I think Nawazuddin Siddiqui, I mean, this was his series. He was he was amazing. Uh, and I've seen him in a couple of things. The Lunchbox. Um, oh, what's the one I just watched? Oh, come on, John. Think. The Kahani. But in this, he's really the only character that goes through a real big arc from where he started to where he ends up. I mean, when you think about, the first scene, they show his mother getting bashed over the head with her lover by who you think is his father, and then you find out, of course, it wasn't. It was him. The kid did it, and Ganesh flashes back every time he takes drugs. He imagines himself bashing him in, but his father went to jail for it, which is the catalyst for a lot of this. But you see how he goes through up the rung of the ladder of crime, right? Every time. Well, in season 2, it starts off, and I'll just give you some highlights from the episodes. And I'm not going to do a recap, but I'll tell you what I like. Like the first episode, um, I don't know if you're familiar with the show The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan, show from the 60s, but that's what it reminded me of. He's not in jail, but he comes out and he's in the middle of the ocean in a boat, not knowing how he got there, not knowing why he was there. I thought that was really cool. Um, that was the highlight for that. And there was another scene as far as filming goes where Sartaj is going after somebody and he's going up this, I don't know if apartment complex, I don't know what it is, but he's going upstairs and the camera just follows him up. So it's like a continuous take. It was really good. Now, in episode 2, and this was some of the confusion of the show, they bounce back and forth. The first season, they jump back, they would put the date, they would put the city, and you knew you were in a flashback. In this show, in this season, they really didn't do that nearly as much, but they kept jumping back and forth. So it got a little confusing who was who in the past and then who they are in the present. Now, I'm not familiar with these performers, right? So for you guys, it was probably no big deal. Like I didn't know that Jamila and Zoya were the same person. Now I figured that out in episode 2, but I didn't make that connection. So that was a big deal, right? Then Ganesh ends up working with the government, and I don't know if it's raw, but that the handler with the glasses, the woman, the tough woman, he ends up working with them. So in essence, he's helping them get rid of the bad guys while he's building his empire. You also find out JoJo, who was the girl that he killed in the first episode, wants to die. She's suicidal, and he in this episode he also has a face to face with Isa, who's he's been going after him for I don't know 8 episodes. So that was a highlight of that. Episode 3, Ganesh decides to make a film about his life, and it's funny because they're shooting it in all this green screens. He goes to the premiere, but he's disguised with his buck teeth and a goatee. It's funny. And there's a line in there. Again, I always bring up lines of references that I get now because I watch so many of these films, but he dies like Amitabh Bachchan. I love that. Um, and then Santaj, and I think this was the first time this happened, but he goes to the cult, the temple, whatever you want to call it, and they're all drinking the tea that makes you hallucinate, and he sees the death of his partner or in the morgue with the wife. And the drugs play a big deal in this because everyone kind of gets brainwashed who's involved with the cult. Frankly, I thought that was the weakest part of the show was the whole cult thing. I didn't get it. It was not that I didn't get it. It was just weird. Even what's his name? Pankaj Tripathi. He was all right, but he was one note. There was like I was expecting like this guru who behind the scenes was like this evil genius. But he didn't play it. He played it one way the whole time. Um, which the whole cult thing I didn't quite get. Anyway, so episode 4. Oh, overall the music I thought the music was great. And it's weird because it's not often music. It's almost like just a rhythmic beat, but it was really effective in building tension because that every episode is building tension towards the conclusion, the finale, and I'll have lots to say about that. Um, let's see. Oh, sorry. Again, the whole drug thing. They keep taking these little red pills, and it makes them hallucinate. And then when they're off it, it makes them paranoid. Yeah. But Zoya in episode 4, Zoya betrays Ganesh, and leads the handler, who Ganesh left, to Ganesh, and they try to kill him. So she betrayed him. Everybody betrays him. Episode 5, now you get a flashback to JoJo's background. You find out why she wants to kill herself because she screwed a guy that was with her sister Mary, and then Mary kills herself. But what I did find interesting was the girl who played Mary. Now, if you remember my review of Mirzapur, I kind of had the hots for Dimpy, even though it was kind of creepy because I'm so old and she's obviously young. And I go, I know who that is, and it certainly was. It was Harshita Gurar. She played Mary. She didn't have a big role, but I knew she because she's just so beautiful. And at the temple they have an orgy, right? Guys on guys, girls on girls. Yeah, that was awesome. But you also find out Sartaj's father is at the temple. And that's a whole nother thing that unfolds that I'm not quite sure about. And then it ends with Guriji, the guru, explaining his evil plan. I don't know if you ever seen in Incredibles where the bad guy monologues. He monologues, but they've got it's all in red. He's in front of a screen. You see mushroom clouds. It's just really freaky and creepy and dark as he's explaining his master plan to change the world with this nuclear bomb. Episode 6. You see a picture of the father, Sartaj's father, with the cult. So now he thinks the father was in on it. Guriji fakes his own death. Sartaj's partner, his kid, So his kid is not reacting to his father's death very well. And there's a scene where a witness they want to talk to is getting absolutely destroyed by this group of people, including Sartaj, who tries to stop it. They start beating him up, and the kid is part of the group. So, and they don't really do anything that other than the mother says, "Please don't rat on him." Um, I thought it was wasted because nothing happened with it. Okay, that's episode 6. Episode 7. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. So Gariji is talking to Ganesh and gets him all hyped up on the drugs, and Ganesh smothers him with his own book. Death by book, but he's dead. Okay, and it also interesting the cinematography when in that scene. I don't know. They must have shot it with a GoPro because it looks like it's right there, and it when he moves, it's moving. It was really kind of. I mean, it was like you were on drugs. And then they do a flashback to Gariji's story, how he became whatever. Again, Sartaj is really strung out. He's got sweat stains. He's got big black under his eyes. He can barely function. Trivedi, who you've heard about throughout this show, is Ganesh's father. You find that out. By the way, the third father that Sartaj has been looking for is the cult leader who's now dead, Gariji. And you know, Ganesh stole this book from the cult leader that explains the whole master plan. He took it. They Sartaj found it, gave it back to the cult, which I didn't quite understand. Unless he was, I don't know. They didn't really explain it. Like, was he? Did he want to be part of it, or was it just to set them up to find where the bomb is? Now we get to the finale, and this is what 15 episodes have built up to. Was this finale? Okay, let me just set that up. So first, I got to get information from a guy who worked for one of the bad guys, so they rip off his toenail. Oy, that was awful, terrible. Um, Haruklar, who is a bad guy, but he did help Sartaj at one point. But he goes in to see Bonsley, who's another bad guy, and this was a great scene. Doesn't say a word. Walks into the guy's bedroom. He's packing to get out of the country because he knows the bomb's going to go off. He sits down in the chair. Doesn't say a word. Pulls out a gun. Points a gun at Bonsley, shoots him. Puts a gun to his head, shoots himself. Boom. That's it. They're out of the picture now. Not a word was spoken. It was a great scene. Great scene. Um, oh, yeah. Everyone's drugged up and they're hallucinating orange and mushroom clouds, whatever. And you know, as this has been going on, they say day 7, day 2, whatever. Well, this one, D-Day. That was the day. So that's the day the bomb's going to go off. Um, Ganesh is now hallucinating. He's hearing Guruji's voice in his head, having conversations with him while he's having conversations with other people. So again, he's drugged out. Now he finds out, and this was a big twist that I did not see coming. Jojo was working with Malcolm the whole time. So every time he thought it was Isa, but he talks to Isa, who's dying of cancer, and he finds out it wasn't. And that's when he realized it was JoJo, which now harkens back to the first episode when he killed her. Now you know why he killed her. And okay, so now, the handler, the government agent, she and her husband get killed. So no one is safe in this show. And then Majid, who started off as kind of a jerk, ends up being a really good guy. He gets killed. And the background music is building and building and building. Now they find the bomb. The bomb is in a parking garage in a van. They've got 5 passwords to get into this system. And it's a geometric pattern. So the screen has a bunch of dots on it. You have to trace a geometric pattern. They bring in a scientist who, through osmosis or, I don't know, praying, is going to attempt to put a geometric pattern in. Now, how you figure out which geometric pattern to put in is beyond my intelligence. I just have no idea. She tries 3 times. She only got 2 attempts left. So what do? We're going to evacuate and fly out of there in a helicopter. And the bomb is 8 times more powerful than Hiroshima. So I don't know where the hell they think they're going, that they're going to get out of the blast radius. So everyone leaves but Sartaj, who's in the van. And he has a revelation. The book. There were geometric patterns in the book. He gets one, puts it in. It doesn't work. I think there's like 2 minutes left. So he goes to the page with his father's handprint and a geometric pattern. And it says Dilbite. Dilbite. I don't remember the first name. Singh, his father. He traces the geometric pattern. And then it fades to black. The end. Let me repeat that. He puts in the geometric pattern. It fades to black. The end. Now, I assume that they thought they were going to get a season 3. And I just heard that they canceled it. There will be no season 3 of this show. Okay. So that's the ending of the show. Now, some people will say, well, it's up to you to decide what happened, right? No, it's not up to me. For 15 episodes, you've built this up. This is the climax that we were waiting for. Is he going to save them? Is he not going to save them? Instead, we get gazzo, as we say in Italian. Nothing. And that pissed me off. All right. I got to tell you. And I loved this show. Even though the second season was slower, I still loved it because I loved the characters. That ending sticks in my throat. Ugh. I can't get the taste out of my mouth. It was so bad. And then the father, I don't understand the father because the father ends up saving Ganesh. That's why Ganesh even did this with Sartaj, because his father was good to him. Then the father ends up in the cult. And then you're not sure if he's on board on this whole bomb thing, because then there's a scene where the father's off in the distance. Malcolm's got a hypodermic needle behind his back. So they lead you to believe they're going to stick it in him and do what and why. Never do you find that out. So Sartaj disowns the father. He takes that bracelet off, throws it in the ocean. But ultimately, the thing that might have saved everybody was the geometric pattern that was in the father's page. But I don't know because they didn't tell you. Okay. Now, I have a question for you. Okay. If any of you have read the book, and I understand this is a book, I don't know if it's a series of books or if it's just a book. I want to know what happened. Does it end this way in the book, or do they tell you what happened? Did Sartaj save the day? That's what I want to know. If it's a spoiler, I don't care. I want to know because I'm still ticked off about it. I hate to be so angry, but you know, I really was invested in this show, and it's so disappointing. It's I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about that ending? Were you happy with it? Did you accept it? Did they answer? I mean, there were things that happened in the show that, you know, didn't make sense. Like, how did they know the van was there? The guy told them, you know, it was near a lake. I think that's what he said. It's near a lake. Okay. Also this. So you're the guys that have planned this whole thing. You've got this bomb that's going to go off, that's going to give this bigger than Hiroshima. And you have one guy protecting it with a sniper rifle across the street. Not a bunch of guys with guns near the van who are martyrs, right? They're willing to die for the cause. Nothing. One guy. And how did Sartaj know that's where they were? Because you never saw the scene where he got the call, said, here's where we are. So I don't know. That didn't make much sense to me. Now, I will say this again. I thought Saif Ali Khan was good in this, but he was pretty one note the whole show, other than when he was strung out. It's Siddiqui that makes this show. He was great in this show. I mean, the different emotions he played. He was funny. He was evil. He was noble. I love that character, and he's a little guy. So to show the kind of intimidation he was able to show with such a small frame, the complete antithesis of Saif Ali Khan, who was a little overweight. I mean, he was big. And when he ran, you know, he's huffing and puffing. So I don't know what to say. I was just, I don't know. I was really disappointed by that ending. I thought it was not a good ending for a good show. So that's my review on season two. I thought season one was better than season two. I thought it was much faster paced, and it was a much more interesting film. I thought series, but whatever. I'm gonna try watching a few others. The Family Man and Patal. I'm screwing it up. Something Lock. I'm going to try watching that. That looks kind of interesting too. But if it ends like this, I'm not watching any more of these shows, okay? Because that really ticks me off. I'm cheesed by it, as we say. Okay, that's it. That's my review of Sacred Games season two. The next film I'm going to watch, based off the viewer polling wheel that I did, is going to be Badhai Ho. And the reason why I'm going to be able to watch this is one of our loyal viewers, Wolverine Pagan, has given me access to that film with English subs. So I'm looking forward to that one. So that's it. Let me know what you think of my review. Let me know what you think of the series Sacred Games. And please let me know what you think of that ending. I am dying to hear what you got to say about that. As always, let me just say how much I appreciate you guys watching and leaving comments. It's always great fun to go back and forth with you guys. So keep it coming, okay? Thanks a lot. And we will talk to you soon with another 10ish minute review and maybe another Indian TV review. Thanks for watching, everybody.